because of these rulings, they're either going to play for you or they're going to play somewhere else around the country. We've made a decision to recruit them.
Hello and welcome to First Take. I'm Kimberly A. Martin, filling in for my girl Shay Cornett, and I'm joined by two lovely gentlemen in studio, Mad Dog and Louis Riddick, and of course Paul Feinbaum. We have a lot of stuff to get into, guys, so let's get to it. Former Cleveland Browns tight end Daquan Wright cleared waivers yesterday, officially paving the way for his return to college football, as the former Ole Miss player intends to play at LSU this upcoming season. If Wright had been claimed on waivers, he would have been unable to play college football, as the claiming team would hold his rights. But in other news yesterday, the Big Ten announced that it passed a rule banning NFL players from returning to college, and later the SEC followed suit, passing a unanimous vote to stop NFL, NBA, and WNBA players from returning to school. The SEC has said it will enforce the rule with penalties, muddying Daquan Wright's situation. The SEC announced its institutions are not permitted to have an athlete on its roster who has, one, previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and did not withdraw, two, signed a contract with an NFL, NBA, G League, or WNBA team, and three, been listed on an NFL, NBA, G League, or NBA roster. All right, you guys got all that? Okay. Paul, what is your reaction to all of this?
Well, I think the Big Ten and the SEC have acted correctly. You just cannot let all this happen without saying something, especially when they believe, Kimberly, that they have the right to mete out penalties. What I mean by that is they can't interfere with all these crazy Louisiana judges, and there are also judges elsewhere who have made rulings like this. But they can be in charge of their own league, and they're essentially saying, you can have this guy on your roster, but we will penalize you. They didn't exactly say what, but the sense is the penalty will be severe, including suspension or perhaps forfeiture. So then it would be up to the individual. Now, what's really interesting here is yesterday in Birmingham, the 16 schools of the SEC met, and get this, they voted unanimously. That includes the LSU president. Now, nobody believes the LSU president was really in favor of it. He's obviously put up with Lane Kiffin because he's part of the group that brought Lane Kiffin in, and he has enabled and embraced everything that Lane Kiffin did. I think the president down there, Wade Roos, went along with it just to get out of that room in one piece. But what happens in Baton Rouge today will be where this story turns.
Well, the first question I have, what does that mean for the two players who joined Kiffin already? The ruling came after he took the two players back. Does that mean they can't play, the tight end from the Browns? Or is this rule after they're already on a team? Paul, answer me that. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I'll try to. Kiffin is arguing today that the SEC should make this ruling from this moment on and allow everybody else who is already into the system remain. I don't think they will do that. I'm pretty sure they won't, but that's going to be the argument. And to put it mildly, what time is it? 9 o'clock in the morning in Baton Rouge. The courts are open, and I promise you guys, and Kimberly, there are lawyers waiting on the doorsteps to file injunctions.
The other thing I would say about LSU, and I'll just do this, and then Louis can fight me off. Can LSU, for once in their life, just lay low? I mean, let's go get Will Wade. Let's go out there and we'll figure out a way to get Kiffin out of Old Miss. Let's go spend $1 billion on this. Let's pay Brian Kelly off. Let's give the kid number 5 when he comes here from high school. Can LSU, for once in their life, just say, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be the first guinea pig to take a kid from the Browns on our team. Let somebody else do it for a change. I mean, geez, what is he, Kellen Winslow, that they got to have him on the ball club? I mean, I would love for once, Louis, and he says, well, he'd go play for another team. Well, let him go play for another team. Why does LSU always got to be the first guy to be an outlier?
Okay.
Yeah, well, look, first and foremost, look, LSU, Lane Kiffin are in the business of trying to win. That's what they're trying to do. And they are saying this, look, by any means that we have in order to acquire players that are going to help us achieve our objective, which is to win SEC titles and to win national titles, we're going to do that. They didn't make the rules. They are exploiting the rules or the loopholes within the rules. Now, I understand this. Look, I am a traditionalist when it comes to college football. I believe that in the ideal world, there are amateurs, there are intercollegiate athletics, and then there's the professional leagues. And once you declare to be a professional, you should not then be allowed to go back and become a quote-unquote amateur. But that line has been blurred. That line has basically been wiped away because of what has happened with NIL, the transfer portal. We see what the kind of money that these players are making. These players are financially set up before they even get to the NFL now. So there really is no such thing as an amateur anymore. There really isn't. But I understand what the SEC and what the Big Ten and what the Big 12, what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep that, that line separate between what constitutes an NCAA player, an intercollegiate player, and a professional. I think ultimately what it's going to come down to is this. It's not going to come down to whether or not, it's not going to be about whether or not you sign an NFL contract, so to speak. I think really what this is really about to me is about keeping it fair for kids who are 17, 18, 19 years old and playing college football and having them not play against guys who are 24, 25, 26 years old who are then coming back from the professional ranks and coming back to play in college football because it is financially within their best interest to do so. That's the kind of thing you don't want. That's the kind of thing that really starts to bother me is when you have older guys who are physically more developed at 24, 25, and 26 playing against guys who are true freshmen, 19 and 20 years old. That's not what intercollegiate sports are supposed to be about. I understand the professionalism argument, and I'm for that as well. But I think, this year, with eligibility being determined by your age, that is the right approach to go about with this, and hopefully that will put some guardrails around this. But, look, I don't blame LSU. I don't blame Lane for doing what he's trying to do. Look, Lane is under a lot of pressure to win at LSU. A lot of pressure. And he's trying to get all the players he can possibly get. And like he said, if I don't take them, someone else will. It's just that he is a lightning rod. He is an easy, low-hanging fruit to go ahead and just kind of bang on and continue to kind of like put under the bright, white-hot lights. But I'm telling you this, he's doing what all the other coaches would do as well.
I will say one thing about the hypocrisy of this. Sorry, Paulie, we're quick. How about the punters?
No, go ahead. I want to hear this.
How about the punters from the Australian rules football who go punt in college and they're 28 years old? How about the Florida State quarterback who won the Heisman that one year?
Chris Weinke.
Yeah, Weinke, who played in AAA baseball and was 27 years of age when he freaking won the Heisman against 18, 19 year old kids. That's not right either.
That's going to be done away with age-based eligibility.
So you agree with me? You don't like that either?
I do not like that.
All right, let me get Paul back in here. Paul?
Doggy, you said something really interesting, and I don't want to be a history professor here, but you have to understand the state of Louisiana. You have to go back to the 30s, Doggy, and I know you're a historical freak. There was a governor named Huey Long who pretty much made this LSU football team his own. He was one of the most charismatic people in the entire country. He considered running for president until somebody assassinated him on the steps of the Capitol. Robert Penn Warren wrote a book entitled All the King's Men. It became a movie, famous movie with Broderick Crawford. You probably remember him from Highway Patrol. This is a 50s show, by the way, Lewis and Kimberly. The point being that he won a Pulitzer Prize for it, too. This is the state. I covered LSU. My first job was in Louisiana, and it is unlike any place else in this country. And that is why Lane Kiffin is such a perfect person for this job. The governor there has shattered norms, just like other politicians have around the country. And every time Lane Kiffin spits in the face of the SEC commissioner or some norm, he becomes even more popular. Now, Lewis, you are also correct. It ratchets up the pressure, and he has to win. That is why he was hired. They fired a coach named Brian Kelly, who played for a national championship at Notre Dame. They paid him more than $50 million to go away. Then the governor did this. He got rid of the athletic director after he got rid of Kelly. And what did he do? He brought in his own president from down the street at McNeese State. That guy then brought his athletic director to essentially run the operation, and then they hired Will Wade. Dougie, you remember Will Wade, don't
Yes.
you? They fired him at LSU 5 years ago
Right.
for shattering NCAA rules. He just took a player off St. John's roster who probably played halfway around the world already. He may not have a team right now because he had about 12 or 13 players from Europe. So that is the culture of LSU, and you can't talk about this story without understanding how bizarre but how wonderful that culture is if you go to a football game